Nice, way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul, I see you. All right, John, finish on. Good call.
Great job, guys.
Hey there, it's Coach Carl here, and welcome to episode 241 of the Today's Leader podcast. During our interviews with some of the great leaders that we've talked to right around the world, I always ask them a very simple question. What books are they reading right now? And what books or book has had the biggest impact on them as leaders? Leaders are readers. We know that. Leaders are readers. And it's really insightful to understand what books have had a big insight on some of the amazing leaders that we've been talking to on the Today's Leader podcast. Now, one of the key things that I've endeavored to do whenever I have faced a problem or an issue in my leadership career, instead of sitting in it, I've actively searched for a solution. We often look for advice. We look for mentoring, and we look for ways or strategies that can support us. But often what we need is simply to understand what books are available that can really help us with that particular problem. And it's not just about reading a book, it's about learning a new strategy and applying that, actually putting it into practice. Now, in an irregular pattern, and we're going to do this in between some of the interviews moving forward, I'm going to start sharing some of the books that I found influential in my leadership career, but also we'll be dissecting some of the books that our experts have recommended and sharing a little bit of greater depth around some of those books to our listeners. So I hope that you'll get some great value from this. I hope that you'll understand the impacts that some of these books have had on my life, on our experts' life, and how we can progressively get better by applying some of the things from some of these books. Now, I'm a big believer that while books may contain a 5-step process or a 6-step process to improve a certain skill set, sometimes it's only one or two of those steps that we really apply and really benefit from. Sometimes it's just one or two key points that we can take away from a book that we can apply. So it's not about just blindly following the process. It's about being objective in our analysis of what is on offer and applying what we resonate most with. Now, of course, the authors have put together that process that they have because it has worked or has proven to work for them. But ultimately, what I want you to be thinking about is, what are some of these key takeaways that I can take from this book and that I can apply? Now, the first book that I want to share is a book that really has had a big impact on myself, and it's a really big impact continuing because I share it today many times with the people that I coach. So the book continues to give, and it's a book called Crucial Conversations, The Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High. And it's a book that has multiple authors. We've got Kerry Patterson, Joseph Grenny, McMillan Al Switzler. And it was first published in 2002. Now, the premise of this book is really quite simple. Most people don't like having tough or crucial conversations, or we miss the opportunity to influence in a crucial conversation. The premise of the book is really quite simple. That's what it's about. It's about giving you the skills and some strategies that are going to help you, that will help you in those tough or crucial conversations. So the book's obviously not called Tough Conversations. It's called Crucial Conversations. And really they give us a really good definition of what a crucial conversation is. A crucial conversation is a discussion between two or more people where stakes are high, opinions will vary, and emotions run strong. And the outcome greatly impacts lives. So think about that. So for you, a crucial conversation may be different to somebody else, but in many cases, we can look at the crucial conversations that we've had, and we think about our career, we think about our business. It could be speaking up at a meeting. It could be a performance management session. It could be a disputes resolution. It could be a customer complaint. It could be a negotiation process. So think about it. Reflect for a second now and think about all of those crucial conversations. That's why, and it's, I found most benefit in this book for myself is in applying it with those tough conversations. But the book is called Crucial Conversations for a reason. And there is also a major impact that you can have when it comes to just building some influence or being listened to in a meeting. Now, the book details that there's usually 3 ways of handling crucial conversations. We avoid them, and you may resonate with that. There have been many crucial conversations that I can reflect back on, and in hindsight, I avoided them. I avoided them for periods of time. I avoided them forever in some cases, but that's one of the ways that they've found that people handle crucial conversation. 1 is they avoid them. 2 is they face them and handle them poorly. And 3 is that we face them and handle them well. And you may be sitting there thinking, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? When you're in a crucial conversation, you're either going to do it well or poorly or not at all. And that's really true. So, but think about your leadership career right now, or think about your business right now. What are the conversations that you're not having that you should be having? And ultimately, if you can think of some, you would gain some great benefit from this book. Also, if you've ever walked away from a conversation saying, well, that didn't go well, and who hasn't walked away from a conversation saying that didn't go well, you would benefit from reading this book. Now, the book provides a process which enables you to prepare and conquer these crucial conversations. So, the book provides a process, and it's a really good 7-step process, and I'll go through that in a sec. But why should you read and apply the key points from this book, you may be asking? Well, firstly, you've probably walked away from a conversation thinking that didn't go well. Maybe you stood up in a meeting and you missed the point, or that everyone in the meeting missed your point, only to find someone stand up later and say exactly the same thing that you said, but was able to gain influence and some impact. And you maybe ask yourself, why did that happen? That's a crucial conversation, and you missed it. And the 3 ways, once again, you didn't avoid it, you did it. But you did it, and you did it maybe not as good as what you could have done. But the other person got up and made the impact. So there's many opportunities why you should be reading the key points, from reading this book and applying the key points. Mastering crucial conversations, and this is a really big claim from the book, but it's one that I tend to agree with. Mastering crucial conversation kickstarts careers, strengthens relationships, and improves your health. So think about that. Strengthens relationships, kickstarts career, and improves your health. How many times have we held off having a crucial conversation and the angst that it brings? This book goes through that in immense detail, some of the psychological or physiologically things that happen to us when we're avoiding conversations or when we're involved in a conversation. Many of the things. So why do conversations tend to go wrong? Once again, they look at 4 reasons. 4 reasons why crucial conversations are handled poorly. 1 is a biological reason. There's usually high adrenaline. There's high blood flow to arms and legs, so we're in this fight or flight mode. And when our blood flow moves to our arms and legs, there's reduced blood flow into the areas that we probably need it to be to remain rational and logical within a conversation. So we're in a fight or flight mode, and what that means is that we often will have lower blood flow to the brain. Another reason is that they often will arise without warning. They'll catch us by surprise. And how many times have you been caught into a conversation that you didn't even choose to have? It just happened. 3 is confusion, because often a crucial conversation will require us to improvise. Often without rehearsal, often without preparation. And number 4 is we often have the self-defeating behaviour. Emotions get the better of us. We do or say the wrong thing, and we actually make the situation worse. So 4 reasons for handling crucial conversations poorly. Biologically, they arise without warning, so they're a surprise attack. We get confused because we're improvising and making it up on the spot. And often we'll have our own self-defeating behaviour by allowing our emotions to get involved in the conversation, which is probably never a good thing. So the process that the book details, and I won't go through it all in detail because it is quite a comprehensive process, and it's one that you fully need to understand before looking to apply it. But there's some really, once again, After I walk through the process, I'll detail my 2 biggest takeaways from the book. So the first step of the process is to get unstuck, to actually understand what is the conversation that we need to be having, why am I avoiding it, etc., etc. So it's all about getting unstuck in relation to the conversation. Second is we start with heart, and what do you really want from the conversation? So what is it that you're really wanting to achieve? What is the outcome that you want from the conversation? And we think about that in a number of different contexts. We think about it for ourselves. We think about it for the other person. We think about it for the continuation or the strengthening of the relationship. And if applicable, we'll think about it from a business point of view. So what is the organisational outcome that they're wanting to get from that particular conversation? Number 3, master my stories. What stories am I telling myself about the situation? Maybe I'm telling myself a story about the other person. So to really tune in on that, because sometimes that mastering of stories will help us in a way forward, but will also make it clearer if we're actually got a perception that may or may not be correct or the way forward that we should be looking. Number 4 is state my past. So this is where we start to create the script. We look at the facts. We look at the logical statement of those facts. We want to share the story in relation to it, or the story that we're telling ourselves in and around the situation. And ultimately, we want to continue the dialogue from it. So we want to end the initial stating my path with a question so that we can enhance or improve our dialogue. Number 5 is making it safe, and this is all about preparation and planning in so many ways. We've got to think about the other person. We've got to think about contingencies. We've got to think about what is the worst possible outcome, or what is the worst possible circumstance that's going to develop from the particular by the conversation. So we want to make it safe. We want to make the conversation safe, because when the conversation is safe, it can follow some rational discussion. It doesn't get hijacked. And as part of my 2 big takeaways, I'll dive into that a little bit more. We want to be open. So path number 6 is we want to explore other paths. So we do want to talk about, what are the alternatives? We may believe that it could be one way forward, but we really want to try and get that other person's commitment and dialogue into the conversation so that we can explore other potential paths. And then finally, we want to move to action. And when we move to action from a conversation, we're once again, we're relating that back to the outcome that we're wanting to get out of it, and we've got a mutual commitment. It's not a singular commitment, it is a mutual commitment. So 7 steps: get unstuck, start with heart, master my stories, state my path, make it safe, explore other paths, and move to action. Now, my biggest takeaways, I've got 2 of them. Now, in the book, they share the concept of a shared pool of meaning, and I really like, utilizing that concept when I'm thinking about or in the middle of a conversation, the shared pool of meaning. So one of the things what that does for me, is I want to create my outcome as a shared outcome very early in the piece within the conversation. I really want to be open in relation to what the outcome that I'm looking to achieve or wanting to achieve. And then hopefully working through a process that will gain some commitment from the other party so that it becomes a shared outcome. I really like that, trying to get a shared outcome. Because then if the conversation does go off the rails or if the conversation takes a turn, we can always come back to remember this is the outcome that we want to achieve. So whether it's a negotiation process, whether it's a meeting process where you share the outcome of what it is that you believe that you want to get. So the other thing is the shared pool of meaning. So during a conversation, if the other party brings some stuff in that you weren't aware of, all of a sudden, all that does, instead of getting defensive, which can happen in conversations, or angry that it hasn't come to the table earlier, or causes us to get befuddled or perplexed, all it does really is adds to our shared pool of knowledge, our shared pool of meaning. So it's once again, it's just adding to what we know, and it should help us dissect a good way forward. So that concept of a shared pool of knowledge, a shared pool of meaning is really, really critical. One of those key takeaways from this book that I've been able to actually apply. Now, the other key takeaway is that concept of safety. So when people withdraw from a conversation, they're usually doing that from a silence or a violence aspect. And it's really important. So when someone withdraws from a conversation, they're either angry and it's physically aggressive potentially, or it's in your face conversation. So once you get into that stage, it's really challenging to remain in a conversation when someone's being physically angry, aggressive. So silence or violence, but also when someone withdraws from a conversation. So, and often it's really that understanding of why are they withdrawing? Why are they going silent? Why are they being absolutely compliant or passive within the discussion? So that making the conversation safe allows you to identify when those things are starting to happen. When the other party or the conversation is turning to silence or violence, that means that we have to be doing something to bring the conversation back into safety. And it really is, as I said, it's a really critical key takeaway from what I've taken and applied from that particular book. When a person is angry, it's very unlikely that you're going to have an outcome you're going to walk away from that saying, well, that didn't go well. So there has to be a means and a strategy for you to be bringing that back. And that's what this book actually provides. Now, there's a lot of gold in this book. And if you're looking for practical advice to help you have crucial conversations, whether it's a tough performance management conversation or whether you just want to build more influence in what it is that you're saying, tap into crucial conversations. It is a really key book. You get some great planning worksheets when you actually purchase the book. It's available on Amazon and, all the big names out there in relation to online bookstores. There are some summaries available for the book that you can purchase, those condensed versions, but I'd recommend getting the book. It's not a bad read. It's a pretty simple read. It's been very well written, but it's interspersed with all of these activities along the way, which is where the major benefit from crucial conversations, talking when the stakes are high. It's really, really important to be applying what it is for what we learn through a book. It's really important. And with crucial conversations, tools for talking when the stakes are high, the planning and the worksheets that are available on purchase of the book is certainly the way to go. I recommend this book because leaders are readers, and it's a really great low-cost, value-based way of developing yourself as a leader by applying some of the principles in the workplace. Crucial conversations. That's our first Leaders Are Readers review. I hope you enjoyed it. So don't forget, check out all of our episodes. They're all available at todaysleader.com.au. In today's disruptive world, good leadership skills will always stand you in good stead. If you're looking to build better leadership skills, consider our sponsors, Think and Grow Business and the Coach Curl Academy. Think and Grow Business is the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind, where we focus on personal, professional, and business growth. Book in your free 30-minute discovery call at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au. The Coach Curl Academy has over 75 programs to help you build a better you. Join for just $1 for the first 30 days. It's an amazing offer, and you'll get so much out of joining the Academy. We equip you and enhance you to improve your business skills, knowledge, mindset, leadership. It's all in the Academy. Check it out at the Coach Curl Academy. Don't forget, you are standing stronger, braver, and wiser. Don't ever forget the golden rule. You know what it is. Don't be an arsehole. I'll see you all next week.
The Coach Curl podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.